I just realized that my microphone was muted. So, let's try this again. Good morning, or good afternoon, hello. Welcome to the OMNI Coalition News Show, aka TOCNS. This show is an amalgam of strange, weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, and otherwise things you don't normally see anymore from most news sources these days. During a time of political overabundance and divisiveness, we present you with more unifying topics to discuss for the most part. For links to those articles and music done by Carrera and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar in the description below. Anyway, I am Xander, and today is Freya's Day, aka Friday, December 23rd, 2022. It is Christmas Eve, or no, it's Christmas Adam, because Adam came before Eve. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, today is Christmas Adam, you know, hardy har har har. Anyway, let's get on into the news, shall we? Starting us off in Rebel News, Trudeau Liberals spread misinformation on cost of New Year's booze tax hike. The CTF asserts that the Prime Minister isn't rubbing margarita salt in the wound by using high inflation to binge on higher alcohol taxes, but according to the Government of Canada, alcohol industry groups have exaggerated the level of taxation applied to alcoholic beverages. So what's going on here? Let's see here. The Trudeau Liberals are rewarding struggling Canadians with several tax hikes heading into the new year. With a steeper booze tax on the way, residents will have to do more than cancel their Disney Plus subscription to have a good time, which they should have never had a Disney Plus subscription to begin with. Disney is evil. Anyway, according to the New Year's tax changes report, the average Canadian family pays 43% of its budgets to taxes. Holy crap. Quote, Canadians can't afford gas or groceries, and the government is making things worse by hiking taxes, end quote, said Franco Terrazzano, federal director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Food prices in Canada skyrocketed in 2022, owing to runaway inflation. Record numbers have accessed food banks to feed their families, a trend that will continue next year as food prices are projected to rise again. Canada's Food Price Report 2023 predicts a 5 to 7% food price increase in 2023, following 10% increases this year, where the most substantial increases occurred in vegetables, dairy, and meat. You know, the basic survival food groups. So, essentially, they're trying to tax the Canadians out of life. Not surprising, you know. It says here, the federal carbon tax will also increase from $50 per ton in 2022 by $15 per year until it reaches $170 per ton in 2030, costing Canadians 14 extra cents per liter at the pumps. So, you know, if it's not just one thing, it's another. So, if that isn't enough, residents will also enjoy a liquor escalator tax that will increase the excise taxes on beer, wine, and spirits with inflation on April 1st, 2023. Taxes already account for about half the price of beer, 65% of the cost of wine, and more than 3/4 in the price of spirits. Wow. Wow. That is flabbergastingly outrageous amount of taxes, man. Stop. Wow. Get out of Canada. No. Let's move on up here. More from Rebel News. Senate costs up 70% since 2015, despite few Senate appointees by Trudeau Liberals. So it sounds to me like they're just increasing their own paychecks. The Senate Standing Committee on Internal Economy, Budgets, and Administration, of course, you know, they're in charge of the economy, CIBA, adopted a budget on Thursday that will cost Canadian taxpayers $126.7 million in the 2023-24 fiscal year. In the fiscal year 2015-16, the last year before the Trudeau Liberals reformed the Red Chamber, Senate expenditures were $74.5 million. In the 7 years since Justin Trudeau has served as Prime Minister, costs for Canada's Senate have exploded by roughly 70%, an increased demand unacceptable by some in the Red Chamber. Several senators are demanding an efficiency review of all Senate spending to rein in costs with inflation crippling the economy. The Senate Standing Committee on Internal Economy, Budgets, and Administration well, I've already read this part. During Thursday's budget announcement, all senators present agreed the Senate should lower costs, but Ontario Independent Senator Lucy Monicon, the chair of CIBA, defended some of the cost increases. Quote, over the last 5 years, major changes have occurred, end quote, said Monicon. She claimed that the Senate is doing now more than it did 7 years ago, including the Senate broadcasting its proceedings, which increased the budget and employee count. Since 2017, 30% more bureaucrats have worked in the Red Chamber. TOCNS expressed concern with the Senate having 493 full-time positions, up from 372 in 2017. Because the Trudeau Liberals have slowly appointed new people to the Senate, the chamber is well below its 105-seat capacity. So not only are they is there less people, but it's costing more. Sounds to me like somebody's pocketing a whole bunch of cash. We're going to move on up here. More from Rebel News. It's not okay to lie to kids about Santa, academics warn. Well, what do they know? They don't have children. They're too busy, studying crap to have kids. Parents put on the naughty list as Aussie academics issue warning that encouraging children to believe in fictional characters can be harmful to their development. And this is a stepping stone to attack Christianity. Here we go. Lying to children about the existence of Santa Claus could be harmful to children, Australian academics have warned. A number of academics have used the Christian season to argue that parents should tell the truth about Santa when their children ask if he is real. Developmental psychologist Dr. OMNI Shahayadian said it was harmful to encourage children to believe in fictional characters. Well, with a name like that, you probably come from an area of the world that hates everything Western, so we shouldn't be listening to you anyway. I'm not one for lying to kids, but when it comes about Santa, it's not that we're lying to our children blatantly about the existence of a magical being that goes all across the earth in one night and gives everybody presents. No, it's the idea of giving. We are physically embodying the actual thoughts of being a giving person. Children can't comprehend that, so we have to do it in a way that they can understand. And Santa has been for hundreds of years working, teaching children, these valuable things. And now you want to take that away? Well, then again, what these people are trying to do in schools and everything, they're trying to really ruin kids. So, no, this guy, Dr. Amin Shahayan, has, just talking out of his ass, so... Anyway, let's move on up to Oddity Central. The Leaning Temple is Taiwan's version of the Tower of Pisa. Taiwan's Chiayi County is home to a temple so slanted that it has been dubbed Taiwan's version of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. In August of 2009, Taiwan was ravaged by Typhoon Morakot, the deadliest typhoon to hit the island in its recorded history. It produced copious amounts of rainfall that resulted in enormous mudflows and severe flooding throughout Taiwan. The typhoon caused enormous damage and hundreds of human fatalities, but also produced one of Taiwan's most unusual tourist attractions, the Taipei Zenjing Palace, a place of worship tilted at about 45 degrees. Wow. Up until 2009, the colorful temple of Taipei Village stood straight, but the landslides that occurred here during the massive storm caused it to slide downhill about 100 meters. The structure miraculously survived, but it remained slanted. The Taipei Zenjing Palace is off the beaten path, but it has been seeing an increase in tourists lately thanks to social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok. It's basically the perfect place to recreate Michael Jackson's iconic gravity-defying lean without any effort. All you have to do is tilt the phone so it shows the temple straight and you leaning forward. Yep, so that's pretty cool. Earlier this year, after photos and videos shot there went viral online, the Taipei Zenjing Palace was even featured on national television and dubbed Taiwan's version of the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy. So, for anyone going to visit Taiwan, go check this place out. I definitely want to. This is cool. Gonna move on up here. More from Oddity Central. This one's mean. Mother secretly bullies her own daughter for more than a year. What? A Michigan mother was recently arrested for allegedly cyberbullying and catfishing her own daughter and her boyfriend for over a year. Cyberbullying is one of the leading social problems of our era, but it's usually teenagers harassing their peers, often with tragic consequences. Although there's been a lot of, stories coming out, of parents being Karens and cyberbullying, other kids, through their kids' username, on, the school's website and, message boards and stuff like that. It continues on, however, in one of the most bizarre cases of cyberbullying ever reported, a girls basketball coach from Michigan allegedly harassed her own teenage daughter through texts and social media messages for over a year, sending her up to 12 texts and messages a day. When the daughter came to her for help with the constant cyberbullying, the woman was the one who reported to the authorities but tried to place the blame on her peers. Wow. So, Kendra Gail Licari, a 42-year-old woman from Mount Pleasant, Michigan, stands accused of putting her own daughter through hell for over a year for reasons that no one, not even her, can explain. She is facing 5 charges, including 2 counts of stalking a minor, 2 counts of using a computer to commit a crime, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. When people ask me, who do we stop from ever having children? Who am I to decide, who has the right to have kids? Well, Exhibit A right there. She should not be having any human rights, Authorities became involved in this case on December of 2021 when Licari herself informed them that her daughter and her boyfriend at the time were being constantly harassed online. She and the boy's mother worked together to find the person responsible for the cyberbullying, so no one suspected that she was the villain all along. What the hell is wrong with this person? What the hell? Absolutely disgusting. She should be locked in jail forever. Put her away. Throw away the key. Going to move on up here. More from Audio Central. The wind wall of Rosenberg allows giant ships to safely pass through a narrow channel. How does that work? It says here, after World War II, the Dutch port city of Rosenberg grew both in size and prosperity, and in order to cope with the ever-growing maritime traffic, a new canal parallel to the already existing Nieuwe Waterweg Canal was built in the 1960s. The Qualandia Canal, named after the civil engineer who built the Nieuwe Waterweg, was a massive success, but it wasn't long before it became overwhelmed by the ships using it, primarily because of their size. These giant cargo ships were so big that the strong wind blowing from the sea threatened to alter their course as they passed through the narrow canal and leave them stuck, so local authorities started looking for solutions. This is interesting. In the mid-1980s, architect Martin Struyus and artist Frans de Witt were commissioned to come up with a wind barrier that was both efficient and easy on the eye. Their design featured over 100 concrete slabs, some of which had a concave shape, lined up over a distance of 1.75 kilometers. Their creation became known as the Wind Wall of Rosenberg. So that's pretty cool. It's big old just concrete things. Oh, Tom Scott did a video about this, huh? Alright. Let's see here. Have I watched it? I have not. Okay, well, I'm going to watch that after this. We're going to move on up here from the Mirror. Teacher left fuming after unwrapping school's insulting Christmas gift to her. Okay, let's see what she got. While some school staff urged parents to avoid getting novelty gifts like teacher-themed mugs come December, every present is still gratefully received, however small. One teacher has shared a horror after receiving a Christmas gift from the school she works in, however, as it's made her feel everything but festive. The art teacher struggled to hold back her frustration upon opening the seemingly innocent gift from her employer, as it left her incredibly disappointed. Taking to TikTok to reveal the unusual Pressy, the female, who posts under the handle @LilYams, has left everyone baffled as to why her school would offer her such a strange gift. What did she get? Oh, yeah, see now, are those tampons? Oh, it's a COVID test. Asking people whether she's being a brat in the video, the woman says, "I'm confused. Is this a joke? I got my Christmas present from the school. It's literally a COVID rapid test." So what are they telling her? Like, test yourself? Like, that's an awful gift. Why would you, like, that is awful. I'm going to have to side with her. So, that's a shit gift. I'm sorry. Like, I'd rather get socks. Come on. Anyway, we're going to move on up here. More from the Mirror. Miller and Carter restaurant sinking like the Titanic as Christmas shoppers watch. A floating steakhouse sank into the lake as horrified Christmas shoppers watched it going down like the Titanic, while restaurant management have blamed structural issues. Miller and Carter Lakeside have announced they will be closed until further notice after the restaurant started sinking into the water at Lakeside Shopping Center earlier on Friday. Restaurant staff had been preparing for lunch service on the boat at the busy Essex Shopping Center when disaster struck. Photos from the scene show the restaurant leaning precariously, with one onlooker saying it's going down like the Titanic. Lakeside Shopping Center director Howard Oldstein said the steamer had begun to sink midway through Friday morning while the team was preparing for the lunch service. So it's a steakhouse on a boat, and it just started sinking. Oops, hold on a second. So that's not good. It's on the paddle boat too. I guess they should have been maintaining, the integrity of the hull. I don't know. Somebody wasn't doing their job. For further reading on this article and all the other articles, we've gone through and the other ones that we're going to, please refer to the underbar in the description below. They put in the time and effort to make these articles. These are, mostly well written. And, I'm just sitting here reading it for you guys. So go over there, give it the footwork, give it a read. We're going to move on here. More from the Mirror. People are just only discovering what 5 golden rings means in the 12 days of Christmas. During the festive season, it is impossible to avoid a Christmas ditty or two. Mariah Carey's dulcet tones are etched into our psyche come December 1st. Lad Baby's peculiar sausage roll song rises in the charts. And traditional carols including Oh Holy Night and Jingle Bells warm up our Christmas cookies. Or cockles. What? Okay. Steeped in biblical history, the 12 days of Christmas can be heard around the globe each year. Most of us are familiar with the lyrics, as every line details a gift given on each day of Christmas. From turtle doves to a partridge in a pear tree, there's plenty of bird references in the jolly song, but there's one particular lyric that has left people baffled, as it completely changes its meaning. Earlier this week, Dr. Anna Hughes, who has a PhD in astrophysics and works in quantum computing, shared a bombshell revelation about the carol that's left people in a frenzy. Taking to Twitter, she wrote, learning that 5 golden rings is not in fact referring to 5 literal golden rings, but to 5 ring-necked pheasants, aka more birds. What? It is a part of the song that everyone really sings their hearts out into, but it seems as though nobody understood the true meaning behind the lyric, as Anna's claims have left them utterly baffled. While we all had visions of gold jewelry in our heads, it turns out that the gift appears to be yet another bird. So, interesting. So, okay, so 5 of these. Pheasants. Alright, well that makes sense. People have pheasants for food. So, anyway, well, that's interesting. Moving on up here, more from the Mirror, and this one's really weird. Drunk Santas in a tank cause chaos after getting stuck on a narrow village road. What? A group of boozy Santas found themselves on the naughty list when they tried to drive a tank through a tiny festive village. Several punters filmed the Santas behaving badly after they seemingly enjoyed too much Christmas spirits. Residents were fuming when the enormous metal beast got stuck and blocked access to their famously decorated streets. The group of military reenactors descended upon the quaint Cornish village dressed as Santa Clauses in a vintage armored personnel carrier. Comical scenes show the Santas struggling to move their army vehicle and being told off for trying to drive down the narrow streets. Some of the group can be heard slurring their words and gesturing wildly when the tank got stuck in the village of Angarak. So, is there a video of this? Doesn't look like it. So, it's just Santa in a tank. That reminds me of, let's see here, the Santa Claus AUC tank images. Hold on, give me the tank. Here we go. It reminds me of this. Santa in a tank. So, anyway, that's wild though. Like, people dress up as St. Nicholas driving around in an armored personnel carrier, and then they get stuck in this little village. Only in the UK. Gonna move on up here. From UPI, aka Oopie, Alabama newborn shares birthday with both parents. Alabama. Oh man, here we go. An Alabama hospital said a baby born there was recently beat odds of 133,000 to 1 to be born on the same day as both parents. The Huntsville Hospital for Women and Children said in a Facebook post that Cassidy and Dylan Scott welcomed daughter Lennon on December 18th, giving her the same birthday shared by both of her parents. The hospital said it was a 1 in 133,000 chance of the mother, father, and baby all sharing the same birthday. The post said Cassidy Scott had actually gone into labor on the 17th, but Lennon wasn't born until 12:30 a.m. on the 18th. Well, that's interesting. So, I mean, that's great. Now you can all share your birthday and Christmas all rolled up into one, and the rest of the year can just suck. Let's move on up here. More from Upi. World's largest crocheted Christmas tree made in Portugal. This is interesting here. The organizers of a crochet project in Portugal said they may have broken a Guinness World Record with their crocheted Christmas tree reached more than 55 feet tall. The Asociação de Moradores Unidos de Alpaca, a residents group in Loures, Lisbon, said the project started as a means of providing social activities for elderly residents after 2 years of pandemic shutdowns, but the project soon grew to involve 70 people from ages 11 to 88. Quote, "We never thought the project would be so successful. We initially thought of a small tree measuring 3 to 4 meters, and then as we realized that there would be many people involved, we advanced to a 17-meter, 55.7-foot tree and entered it into the Guinness Book of Records," end quote. Project coordinator Catarina Canales told the Guardian Press. The current Guinness World Record for tallest crocheted sculpture supported is a 52-foot, 1.98-inch crocheted Christmas tree made in Ecuador in 2021, just last year. All right. So, yeah, it's 52-foot, 55, so this is definitely the record. All right, good on you. And that shall conclude the show. Once again, you can check the underbar in the description for links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of different, otherwise unknown news, we stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. in Germany. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander, and you, of course, are you. And until you catch us on Monday, or if you're interested in history, we have a history show every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. Anyway, until then, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!